And the email came through while I was curled up in bed, mindlessly scrolling through my phone. "Read this." I grew curious when I saw the name, Eli. I wouldn't have considered him someone that I kept in touch with, so it was strange to receive an email from him out of the blue. Still, I was intrigued. The last that I had heard about him was a screenshot that I had seen on a friend's Instagram story, indicating that he had gotten his dream job. Lucky him. Eli was one of the smartest guys in our class, so I wasn't surprised. Eli's email sat at the top of my Gmail with no subject, just a line of exclamation marks, which was very Eli. "Hey Gabby, long time no see. Do you remember when we used to play visual novel games during study hall?" He started the email as if he were reminiscing at a high school reunion, though it was strangely comforting. I did remember, I was obsessed with visual novel games as a teenager. The Persona games were a particular favorite. I vaguely remember sitting in the library playing them until my friends had to physically drag me away from my PSP. However, I didn't recall Eli being with me. It was always just me or my close circle of friends. "Well, I currently work as a game designer at an indie company and I figured you might like this. It's our newest project and it's still in early development, though the game itself and the story are finished. Why don't you check it out before it goes live on Steam early next year? We're trying to send early access to some well-known streamers, but it's taking a while. If I remember correctly, you're into this sort of thing, right? Neverwood is completely up your alley." Underneath the initial paragraph was a link, and intrigued, I clicked on it. Another window, what looked like a download wizard, came up. "Let me know what you think. I spent 2 years on this game, so I would appreciate your feedback. If I had to describe it, I would say it's Persona, but more a slice of life. There's a school setting and it focuses on making attachments, so no superpowers." I rolled my eyes at that. Eli hadn't changed. I loaded up the download wizard, which went through the specs that I needed to play the game, and then the usual terms and conditions that I automatically skipped through. I could see some of the imagery in the background. It was a window looking out into a sky filled with stars and a crescent moon. I don't know why I expected something similar to Stardew Valley, but I was pleasantly surprised. The art seemed to be hand-drawn with no pixels in sight. It was cozy. It reminded me of Welcome to Night Vale. The game was easy to download. It took maybe 5 minutes of staring at a rapidly changing progress bar, skipping from 10% to 50 and then back to 3 before the game finally loaded up. It was surprisingly well made. The game started with an almost cinematic scene involving a first-person point of view of a car ride. There was no voice acting, only text boxes popping up in various shades of purple, which I thought was a nice touch. I was introduced to 18-year-old Maddie, a wallflower, returning home after a summer away at camp. Driving through an idealistic-looking town, the animation was smooth with no glitches or lag. Neverwood unfolded in flashes, framed like a photographic collage, Polaroids pinned to Maddie's bedroom walls. I guess these were all playable locations. A diner, a coffee shop, a school, each rendered in warm, inviting detail. The music hummed lo-fi, while other characters were introduced through cryptic text and blurred silhouettes glowing in the late afternoon sun. Maddie herself frowned at a photo of her with a guy, his face blocked by her finger. Whoever did the art for this game was talented. The smooth blending of colors with the interface made everything feel cozy and lived in. These characters looked real. Sure, they were hand-drawn sprites and clearly crafted with care, but they moved and acted like real people. The animation was flawless. Eli and his colleagues had clearly drawn inspiration from Life is Strange. The game's visuals immediately drew me in. Cyberpunk hues clashed with warm tones, vivid reds and purples blurred together in the vaporwave glow of traffic outside the car. I picked up the story through Maddie's narrative, a written monologue, snapshots of unread texts, missed phone calls. Senior year was her chance to finally try. She had friends but had never really invested in them, always backing out or making excuses. The animation ended with her lying in bed and decorated in a nostalgic, almost mournful way, a nod to a teen who had lost much of her late adolescence to a virus. Maddie gazed at the sky, wishing she could see the stars for real, longing to stargaze with the friends that she had pushed away. And then a notification popped up on her phone from one of the blurry faces in the Polaroid montage. A heart emoji blinked next to his name. "You up?" The text box reflected her thoughts as the interface lit up. I had to click on something glowing behind her, a photograph. This time I saw the face, a smiling brunette with freckles. Penn. The art was beautiful, even for secondary characters. The care in making him feel real and relatable was evident. The guy's personality was clear through pictures on the wall. Hockey team, true crime fan, usually behind the camera and Maddie's snapshots. The game required scrolling through the text between them, mostly Penn trying and failing to get her to hang out. These two were childhood friends, destined to be together, at least according to their mom's friendship. I found myself drawn to both the game and the relationship. Other characters emerged as I navigated the tutorial and explored town. There was something undeniably compelling about the childhood friends to lovers trope. The tutorial explained the objectives: make as many friends as possible, build a relationship with your chosen character, and solve a mini mystery. Who had given the entire senior class food poisoning? My options were clear. Penn, the childhood best friend the game subtly nudged me toward. He showed up at her door with breakfast cupcakes, asking if she wanted a ride to school. And then there was Violet, a wannabe reporter in Maddie's class investigating the food poisoning incident. And Jude, the estranged friend working at the coffee shop, fluent in sarcasm. If you approached the counter immediately, his sprite wouldn't appear right away. When he finally did, coffee in hand, the text read, "Aren't you tired of stalking me?" You click on him too many times and he would vanish entirely, becoming an NPC until you left the area. I assumed this was a glitch and I waited until school the next morning to ask him about it. I admit I got hooked. I ended up building relationships with all three, indecisive about who Maddie should end up with. Solving the mystery was straightforward. One of the football players had been playing a prank. I spent a whole real-time night sneaking around the school with Violet, learning more about her story. She and Maddie had fought at the start of the summer. Maddie went to camp and left Violet unread. The game hinted that they might have had a closer relationship, their falling out tangled with Violet's family drama. Violet didn't fully reveal their story until we had solved the food poisoning mystery. Yes, they were a thing, and yes, just as I thought, Violet's family wasn't exactly supportive. So, my main character was bisexual and in love with her best friend. I got an award for solving the mystery in record time, and Violet gave me a present, a bag of diamonds that I could spend at the mall, though I couldn't interact with it yet. After solving the mystery with Violet and playing a pretty fun minigame that involved catching the culprit by throwing watermelons at him, the game took me back to the school, where I presumed the next part of the story would begin. I had been playing nonstop for 2 days, only pausing for work and eating, and so I took a break. I searched for the game online, but there was no mention of it. Curious, I went on Twitch to see if Eli had managed to convince some streamers to play it, but no such luck. Last night I had several hours to kill, so I hopped back onto Neverwood. Penn jumped straight at me the second that I loaded back to my last save point, which was outside the school. His sprite was slightly bigger than usual, overlapping the text box at the bottom of the screen. "Where did you go?" Penn folded his arms. "Maddie, I've been waiting for you. We were supposed to go to the movies." "Were we?" I had to think back, feeling a little disoriented and foggy-brained from work. Oh yeah, I had movie tickets in my inventory. I picked them up behind a trash can in the town square, only to get a snide comment from Jude, who was standing several feet away. I was kind of out of it when I played through his character's story, but basically, he had drifted from the friend group when his mom got diagnosed with cancer and pushed them all away. Jude admitted that he had regretted it, and he and Maddie shared a hug, which I thought was cute. I figured Jude's character would be easy to talk to and more aligned with the main story instead of being thrown to the side, but apparently not. His comment confused me. I think it was one of the reasons that I decided to take a break. "You're not supposed to be here," his character said, and he kept repeating it every time that I clicked on him for answers. In my haste to take a break from the game and these characters, I had completely forgotten about the movie tickets. I had 3 options to choose from to answer him. "Oops, sorry, I totally forgot. Yeah, I'm not really in the mood for the movies. How about a rain check? I hear they're playing that new superhero movie. We should go see it." I picked the 3rd option, and the 2 of them wandered into the movie theater. I didn't see what went on inside, it just came up with. Penn and I had a great time watching Monster Sequel 2. I expected Penn's character story to start after that, and it did. Well, kind of. I was drip-fed information about his and Maddie's past, as well as his rocky friendship with Jude. But just as the game started getting into the meat of his story, and I was getting invested in their friendship, Penn's sprite contorted suddenly before he blinked. If I had been focusing on the text box, I wouldn't have noticed. Instead, I was stupidly counting the number of freckles on his cheek. I don't think that I've ever experienced something as uncanny and strange as a video game character suddenly blinking out of nowhere. It wasn't the usual blink of a character animation which I was used to. No, this was a slow blink, and I could almost mistake his expression for sudden confusion. The rapid flowing text that he had been speaking suddenly stopped and disappeared, followed by 3 ellipses. I frowned at my options at the bottom, which involved sympathizing with him over his and Jude's friendship breakup, and then his sprite flashed out of existence, leaving me alone outside the movie theater. The game seemed to continue as normal. "You had a great conversation with Penn." The text box popped up. "Why don't you call him and ask for a second date?" The cell phone icon at the top of the screen was flashing, but when I clicked on it, nothing happened. Now, I was playing at midnight. I don't think these glitches would have affected me as much as if I had been playing during the day. I headed to the school to see if I could find someone to talk to, but once my character popped up in the main hallway, the lo-fi music in the background stopped. I thought it was the game itself, but when I clicked on the locker to pick up a bag of diamonds, the sound effect of the locker opening and closing was still there. At this point, I was considering restarting the game, but I found myself hovering my cursor over the classroom doors that I could interact with. The main classroom where most of the story had taken place was unusually unplayable during character stories, and I was pretty sure I was playing Penn's. Still, when I clicked on it, I was let in. The classroom popped up as usual, and I had apparently walked into a conversation that I didn't start. Violet, Penn, and Jude's default sprites were already on the screen. Penn seemed to be the main speaker, with his text box flashing up every few seconds, but his words were going too fast for me to read. His usual expression was a warm smile, but this time the boy was scowling. Meanwhile, Jude and Violet looked amused. I was sure that I had never seen Jude smile or even smirk before. He always looked annoyed, while Violet's smile was always cheery, sometimes flashing a heart with her hands. These expressions were different though, and I couldn't explain why. These fictional characters weren't real, and yet somehow they were so much more expressive in this classroom, their lips curled with amusement, eyes shining. The two of them appeared to be listening to Penn's rant, which was getting progressively harder to make out. So I took a screenshot and managed to capture at least a part of it. "Why can't you just listen to me?" His sprite was going crazy, expressions flickering from happy to sad to annoyed. I took another screenshot, though this one was kinda blurry. "The same day over and over again. Aren't you tired? Violet, you." I could feel my stomach twisting into knots. "So many times, and it's like we're stuck reliving the same day, the same week, the same year. And I'm scared because you guys look at me like that, like I'm crazy. And I'm not crazy, I'm telling you that I stopped taking snapshots when the text stopped flowing. This time, Penn's sprite turned directly towards me and I saw it. I saw his expression twist into disgust, his lip curling. It was so human, so normal, like I was staring at a living, breathing person through that animation. I almost closed the laptop, but part of me wanted him to continue. "What the heck are you doing here?" His words appeared in bolded gibberish that I could just make out. Penn's sprite overlapped the text again. "Shouldn't you be playing minigames?" he said. "Leave," the character told me. Me, not Maddie, the game's protagonist. Me, the player. I had no way to communicate back because there was no option. As I stared stupidly at my screen, he turned back to the others. "Please." The text popped up again, and his eyes were suddenly far too human and too haunted. "I know I sound crazy." "Yeah." Jude's sprite appeared amid eye roll. This time he wore his coffee shop apron, which was either a glitch or something else. Just like Penn, he was more expressive than usual, smiling more than I had ever seen. "What exactly are you trying to tell us?" "You heard him." Violet's sprite was grinning. "He says we're video game characters, which is a good one." She turned to look directly at me, her head cocking to the side in one swift burst of animation. "So that would mean every choice I make is someone else's." The desk next to her suddenly flipped over and her smile widened. "False, because I used my own free will to kick that desk over. So in conclusion, Penn is like totally losing his mind, and we should get him to the town doctor." Agreed. Jude's sprite had frozen mid-eye roll, which shouldn't have freaked me out as much as it did. I knew he was going to lose it at some point, but not in high school. Maybe he hit his head. Penn's expression crumpled. "Jude, wait." Later, Jude's sprite waved. The two of them left the classroom and I snapped out of my trance, starting to close my laptop, my head spinning. Eli was quite the designer. If he could create a game as meta as this, he was definitely going to make it in the industry. I was sure that Neverwood would be a success. However, I definitely was not a fan of the fourth wall breaking. The whole thing freaked me out. There was Uncanny Valley and then there was fourth wall breaking. Fictional characters acknowledging their own existence was something else. I was ready to exit the game when Penn's sprite jumped over the text box. "Hey!" His sprite got uncomfortably close. "Don't leave me." The text flashed up and I couldn't look at his face because I could almost trick myself into believing it was a real person speaking to me. The mix of agony and confusion in his eyes was too human, too real. "I know you want to quit and I can understand that I'm freaking you out." His text appeared a little slower and I could imagine a real person taking deep breaths through ellipses. "I don't know why I'm the only one who thinks this way. I can't remember a time when I wasn't aware of what was happening. I've solved the mystery at our school countless times. I've gone on endless dates with the main character, and they always play out exactly the same. I was surprised by his facepalm animation. I come to school, I go home, and it doesn't feel like I'm living when I'm awake. His sprite ducked his head and something warm slid up my throat. It's torture, and I don't want to be awake anymore. I don't want to be aware of this existence because this existence... The text box was empty for a moment while he pondered his thoughts. It sucks, dude. The text glitched again. Why should I have to relive the same days? Why should I have to be forced to count each reset? I'm alone. It's just me going crazy on my own. Jude and Violet aren't like me. They won't listen, and I'm tired. I should have the right to end it myself, right? I'm alive, so I have a right to pull my own plug. His eyes found mine. I know video game characters don't usually have a say in what they're allowed to do. Their entire life is controlled by the player. His expression became subtly dark. And I think that's a pretty crappy existence. I should be allowed to make my own choices. Who I want to be friends with, who I want to love, who I want to hate, and how I'm going to live my life. Like I said, it's not fair. Being aware of my existence and even giving me the ability to think for myself is twisted. His sprite shrugged. So you can go right ahead. When I didn't respond because I had no way to talk to him, he continued. There's a separate folder with the game files, Penn said. I'm not allowed inside them, so I can only see a list of names and notes. I knew what he was talking about the second he mentioned the list of names. How could I deny this thing, this living thing, an end? But also, wasn't this murder? If this game had fictional characters with consciousness, wouldn't I be killing someone? It's easy to delete me. Just right-click and delete. His smile made me feel sick. I know it's kind of barbaric, but trust me, you would be doing me a favor. I noticed the classroom glitching around him, and I wondered if him being awake and controlling the game was messing with the controls. I got my answer when I tried to open the options screen and half of the screen froze. Luckily, it didn't affect Penn, who easily popped up over the frozen interface. You're not killing me, you're saving me. It's just like going to sleep, right? I won't even know that I'm sleeping. His words somehow navigated me to the game files, and just like he had described, there was a list of folders with one containing the names of the characters. I went back to the game screen and he was still there, and this time he was smiling his default smile. I would say delete the others too, but I don't think that's my choice to make. Violet and Jude can make their own choice, and I respect whatever they choose to do. He paused, and I found myself teary-eyed, my gaze flicking through several text boxes with just ... before he continued. Did you know I can actually have dreams? I figured Penn knew that I couldn't reply, but he did his best to act like he could hear me. Do you believe in reincarnation? I was hovering my cursor over his file when he continued. I have dreams where I'm not in this town, he said. I'm someone else. I'm a whole different person with a different life, and I think that was my past one. His smile made me feel queasy and yet indescribably sad at the same time. So that means I was human in my other life, right? This was just another life on top of all the others that I've had, and this is just... He paused, the screen glitching once again. This one life is just a blip where something went wrong. Maybe my next life will be better. I don't just exist as a thing in this game. I'm actually real. I've been real, and when you delete me, I'll be real again. I saw the ellipses as his way of sighing. God, I was choked up over a sentient video game character. I swiped at my eyes. So yeah, you can do it now. His sprite looked peaceful, and yet when I clicked on his name, I still felt like I was responsible for this thing's death. You know what's weird? The message popped up when I was hovering over his name. Jude and Violet. Penn's expression contorted a little into confusion. His sprite changed to a crying animation. Those dreams that I have, they're in them too, which is kinda crazy, right? Maybe it's fate. His last message was confusing. I'll see you on Monday. I deleted him before he could finish, and it wasn't as climactic as I was expecting. Penn's sprite disappeared, but his text box was still wavering on the screen. I could see the effects of his removal almost immediately, even if it was hard to notice at first. Maddie's cell phone was glitching in and out of existence, and I could no longer click on the town map. I went back to Maddie's bedroom, and the Polaroids with his face were gone, while some stray ones had a glitched out version of a smile which freaked me out. I exited the main menu and was ready to stop playing, ready to purge this game from my mind when I found myself back inside the character folder. It's weird. I could almost liken it to feeling like a god. The remaining names stood out in front of me. I should have clicked out of the game files, but something lingering in my gut, intertwining its way through me, kept me there. Penn told me that he didn't have the right to delete the others from existence, but that was just him. This sentient thing had spoken like a living and breathing human, despite being nothing but code tangled together. He said it was torture to be awake and aware of this never-ending, monotonous existence. Wasn't that what it was like for them? Even if they were not awake, there was a chance they could become aware at some point and be destined to the same fate as Penn. He said that he had relived the reset thousands of times, and I couldn't put them through that. I had the ability to give these things mercy, and I could send them to eternal sleep. They wouldn't know, right? I was already right-clicking on Jude's name and scrolling down to delete. That word had meant nothing to me when playing games, and yet now it gave me the ability to grant life or death. I could erase this thing from existence, and it would never even know. Before I could delete him though, my gaze caught the rest of the files open on the left of the screen. Penn said he wasn't able to access them, but I wondered if I could. I was curious about the building of this game and how exactly it had managed to create life inside its interface. There were 3 more files available, the others locked. I tried to get into the locked one, but no luck, so I turned my attention to the others. Building, textiles, and notes. I clicked into building, which was just screenshots of various parts of the town and some character designs. The textiles folder was empty, and so I clicked on notes. Inside, there was a folder named To You Love 2021. Clicking into that one, I found myself staring at several text docs and what appeared to be diary entries. March 5th, 2021. I don't know why the guys in the office ignore me. Is it something that I've done wrong? I've tried so many times to talk to them and they stick their noses up at me. I'm starting to think maybe this job was a bad idea. It's my dream, but they make it so hard to enjoy it. I made a new friend at least. He's a true crime freak, so at least we have something to talk about. But he does talk about it in extensive detail. I was like, dude, you're scaring her. And he looked at me kinda funny. Does he like her? I mean, she's been flirting with me for months, so obviously not. But the way she looks at him does make me suspicious. That was the point at which I stopped digging around these files. I don't know why, but I kept going down the list, clicking on each entry. March 6th, 2021. They stole my ideas today and laughed in my face. Mom says I should talk to someone, but who do I talk to? This is the real world. I shouldn't be getting bullied like I did in high school. This isn't fair. This is my job. Why are they ruining it? I asked her on a date and she says that she has plans. I've asked her out every single day and it's always that she's busy and never has time. But now she has plans. Who does she have plans with? March 9th, 2021. I took a break to start in the game. We're calling it Neverwood. It's my idea and they're the ones that are getting the glory. At lunch, she rejected me again. Does she not understand that I see her? There are so many people here and yet I'm the only one who truly sees her for who she really is. I hate her for making her way through our whole studio and not even looking in my direction. It won't be long before she goes for him. I know she has a thing for him, but of course he's playing hard to get. It's painful to watch. He's also got a new friend, some new guy who looks at me like I'm dirt. I've got a bad feeling about this guy. He's like a sociopath. When he does communicate with me, he's talking down to me like I'm a child. And he never smiles. I caught him talking to the other two today. I hope he gets the hint that he's not welcome. March 15th, 2021. I was right. I'm supposed to be using this stupid diary for game progress, but I was right. They hooked up. I never liked her, and also the new guy has joined the team. And I already hate him. I'm not a coffee boy. I mean, what is a grand frappuccino? March 18th, 2021. Oh, I love her. I really love her. Why can't she see that? Why can't she see me? I hate that nobody looks at me, and when they do look at me, it's like there's something wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with me. I had friends in high school, so why are people being bullies in the workplace? I can't help being the smartest one here. I saw the three of them acting all cozy this morning. I'm talking leaning on each other. I think they spent the night together. Did she get with both of them? Does that count as inappropriate behavior in the office? I should be the one taking the credit for a game and an idea that is mine, not him. March 20th, 2021. They're killing me. I don't think I can do this anymore. They think they're smarter than me. They think they're better than me. They're actually dating. She picked both of them and I'm just the coffee boy. Who do they think they are? March 28th, 2021. I'm going to try to clear the air with them tonight. Neverwood has just met our first deadline and I think that we can make this work. I think I can get her to look at me. I know she really doesn't like them like that. She's just confused. I'll talk to her. I'll tell her that she's confused and that maybe we can hang out. She did speak to me at first. That means that I get first dibs, right? I'm smarter than them and I'll show her that. The entries jumped forward a whole month later. I don't know why I clicked on it. On this clear descent into insanity. April 15th, 2021. Yeah, that guy may be the true crime freak, but I'm the one dumping his body. It was easier than I thought. I didn't freak out or barf, it felt right, you know. He was the hardest. I used to really like him. But once he started running off his mouth, I was done. He didn't even see me picking up the paperweight. I'm glad he told me all about pressure points, because I'm sure one good smack against the temple is pretty killer. And then I killed his best friend, not before I had fun with him first. They've been looking down on me since I started this job. I gave him life and then I ended it, just like that. Hey, like video game characters. She wasn't quite as easy because I wanted her before I killed her. And she didn't even let me have it. Screw her, if I get caught for this, I'm never telling where the bodies are. Because there are none. Something ice cold slithered down my spine. Penn's words came back to me like lightning bolts. I dream of another life. Stop reading. I tried to, but something kept my eyes glued to my laptop screen. Because I was starting to put pieces of this puzzle together, coming closer to that inevitable truth. The next note had an image attached, and as soon as it loaded, I threw up. At first, I could make out only the white porcelain of a bathtub, but then I saw the splatters. Severed limbs piled atop one another. This psychopath had stripped them of their faces, their very identities, leaving nothing but discarded heaps of flesh. I could see the cruel slices done for no reason but his sick, twisted pleasure. A limp arm hung over the edge of the bathtub, an engagement ring still clinging to one finger. The next image was a trash can on fire stuffed with the remnants of clothes, bags, and name tags, snatched away by the flames, taking his filthy secret with them. The third was only half visible, but even then I could make out half a face. It was just a head, the body missing, yet the features bore an uncanny resemblance to Jude. Scrolling further revealed even more horrors. 3 adults bound to chairs. Eli had turned them into a grotesque Photoshop, posing 3 people who looked disturbingly like Neverwood's characters. Penn was older, his hair grown long and mouse brown, but the freckles gave him away. Jude was a mirror of his digital self. Violet was unsettlingly ordinary compared to the game version, who had been beautiful. And then the photos grew worse. They began with snapshots of silent screams and desperate pleas for mercy. By the end, their heads were bowed, lifeless, red pooling across the floor. June 27th, 2021. I went to your funeral today, and as a gift to your parents, I let them know that you guys will eternally live inside Neverwood. Your folks are so happy. I even gave them a beta version. After everything you did to me, I actually had the decency and heart to remember you in some way. I'm such a good friend, but you guys know that, right? I know you. Yes, you reading this, you piece of crap, are intelligent enough to find this. V, I'm so happy that I can date you for real now whenever I want. I played through your story multiple times. You're an amazing girlfriend. I can love you now for however long I want and you'll never have them. I'll just delete them so it's only you and me in Neverwood forever. Oh, and Penn, we can be best friends now. See, you did want me. Attached to the file was a 2-minute voice clip. hahaha.avi. The sound was a little rough, but I could just make out voices in what appeared to be a crowded place. Eli's driving me mad. Man, he's so weird. Penn's voice was loud and clear, crackling through the speaker. I could hear clanking silverware, and it sounded like they were in a restaurant. I don't know, man. I kind of feel sorry for him. I think he likes us. It's kind of cute. Jude. I recognized his voice. How? Violet's laugh crackled through. He's literally stalking us. Did you see him watching us the other night? He was there for hours. Just ignore him, he'll get tired. Penn sighed. Eventually. Yeah, well, he's yet to get the hint, Jude muttered. It's like talking to a wall. I'm going to tell him, Penn said. We can't screw him over, he could report us. Jude spluttered. Oh, the dude ain't reporting anyone. He'll just cry into his superhero sheets and then he'll get over it. He's a 22-year-old virgin, never been touched. If he doesn't, I don't know, man. Maybe Violet can promise him a sympathy BJ. A bang made me jump. Shh, Violet giggled. Hey, you're insane and I kinda love it, Penn muttered. The 3 started laughing and a shiver ripped down my spine. Hey, guys, what are you laughing at? Eli. Memes, Penn muttered. Did you, finish the pitch? There was an awkward silence before Eli responded. I could hear the exhaustion in his tone. I thought you were writing the pitch. Neverwood, Penn said, exaggerating his voice. Come on, Eli, it sounds like a Disney show. We need a new name. Eli paused before hissing out. But that was your idea. Neverwood was your idea. Penn laughed again, though this time it was kind of awkward. No, I didn't. Do you have, amnesia? Penn's voice was cruel and biting, but part of me understood. He was being cruel to be kind. Instead of leading Eli on, he was cutting him loose. We're the ones doing the work while you sit on your butt, Penn snapped. Pull yourself together, Eli. We're colleagues, not friends. Eli exploded, his voice coming out in a strangled hiss. I've been doing all the work. You three stole my idea. Penn! His voice was pleading. Why do you even hang around with him? Can't you see that he's horrible? You didn't even like him at first. Didn't you call him pretentious? Oh, wow, thanks. Jude exaggerated a cough. I'm so sorry for hurting your little feelings at the ripe age of 22. I could practically hear his eyes rolling. He snorted. Get a grip, Eli. Eli, to my dismay, continued. Penn, he spat. Why are you doing this to me? His voice cracked into a yell and I could sense the awkwardness. Why do you even hang around with him? Jude snorted again. Doing what? All right, since my boy's too nice, we don't want you here. You're weird, Eli. You stalk us on nights out and stand outside my apartment for hours. Doing what? Do you want me to let you in? Do you want to screw me? Eli's voice was more of a sharp breath straight into the speaker. Violet invited me. Jude groaned. As a joke. Jude. Penn's tone was warning and cutting him off. He sighed. Eli, just go home, okay? I'll see you on Monday. When the clip ended, my stomach felt like it was trying to projectile into my throat. This time, I threw my laptop on the floor. I needed to break it, but what would breaking it do? I fell into a frenzy, my thoughts dancing, and I snatched it back up, placing it back on my bed as gently as possible, my gut twisting. It was like I was handling bodies. I kind of was. I remember hitting the floor knees first, my head spinning off its axis. I killed someone. Penn's words came into my mind and my stomach heaved again. Phantom bugs skittering up my spine. It's fate. It's fate that we always find each other like something is pulling us together. It wasn't fate. I had killed the last parts of him holding on, the remnants entwined inside this psycho game, and I almost killed 2 others. I was staring at my phone, mentally coercing the words murder in my mind when a text notification popped up from Eli. Did you enjoy the game, Gabs? I went back to the game, all too aware something was wrong with Jude and Violet. The cell phone icon kept glitching. Violet was calling me or trying to call me. Don't answer it. Jude's sprite popped up over the startup screen. His sprite switched to his rolling eyes expression. Violet isn't awake. Leave her alone. He was pissed, his arms folded. What did he do? Is he insane? Where did he go? His eyes flicked to me and I felt myself go still, my breath stuck in my throat. Did you do this, Eli? Jude demanded, his face starting to contort. Did you wake him up? I slammed my laptop shut, but it was overheating in my lap. A knock on my door startled me, and with a foggy head, I stumbled downstairs. However, when my hand wrapped around the handle, I saw the figure standing outside. The figure with no discernible face, a shadow bleeding into existence. I blinked and my front door glitched, blurring in and out of view. When my phone buzzed, I pulled it out, something slimy creeping up my throat. Can you help me find my body? I couldn't reply and another text popped up. Gabby, it's me. Can you help me find my head? I can't find it. Please, Gabby, open the door. I can't find my head. Gabby? Sonic GMD, Leon Knott, Takio Zarilla, Mina Lynn Gitter, SWAT, Damon McCory, Mark Norman, yours truly, Dino, Lunas TV, Wayward Son, Deus Ex Nihilo, Big Country Allen, Pamela Shockley, Sleepy Shroomy, Caleb Windsor, Kathy McGuire, Paige Martin, Richard Friends, Shrimple the Shrimp, MP Massacre 91, Jacob Bartlett, Miss Eldridge, Casey Long, Justin Fotenauer, Roley, Sanjay Anthem, Lone Wolf Sam,